So this is something that DHS just came out with. They're going to give you travel assistance and a stipend of $1,000 if you voluntarily self-deport yourself with the CBP Home app. So this is the application that was previously CBP-1 to help people who are seeking asylum come inside the United States. The government revamped the app to use it for self-deportation, to recommend people to leave the United States on their own. And the government is coming out with this message that anybody who leaves now, that they can come back legally to the United States. So I wanted to tell you guys about something called a permanent bar, okay, which means that just because the government tells you, oh, if you leave under this app, or even we pay your money, we pay you a stipend of $1,000 to come to leave on your own, it doesn't mean that you're going to be eligible to come back to the United States. And it depends how long you were here, how long of a punishment that you have under the immigration law. Okay, so there's something called the 3-year bar, and then there's something called the 10-year bar, and it depends on how long you were inside the United States, and it doesn't even matter if you came in lawfully. So let me give you an example. The permanent bar it is triggered when you leave the United States, and if you had been here at least 1 year unlawfully, say you came in on a tourist visa, and then you left the United States after staying here for a year, then you will have triggered the permanent bar the moment that you leave. Meaning, even if you leave with this stipend that the government gives you, you still can't come back for 10 years unless you get permission from the government. You would have to get a family petition. Most likely, usually it's a family petition that could bring you back because you need a waiver of that 10-year. They call it a permanent bar, but it's for 10 years. To get that waived, you need a U.S. citizen spouse or a U.S. citizen child who's 21 who can petition you, and then you can come back with a waiver after that is approved if you can show hardship. Otherwise, you've got to wait 10 years outside the United States. Okay, and now there's also a 3-year bar, which is going to apply for anybody who's been here over 6 months unlawfully, but less than a year. Those people have a 3-year punishment. It's called the 3-year bar. And also, you can get a waiver for it if you have a U.S. citizen spouse, right, or a parent. Then you could get that waived if you qualify. First, you need a family petition or an immediate relative to petition you, and then you can get the waiver. But that's going to be otherwise 3 years. Just to let you know, to get that family petition and then the waiver, you may as well have just waited the 3 years out. That's just how long those cases are taking anyway. So in my opinion, if you have the 3-year bar, just wait the 3 years. You can do the family petition, but by the time cases are taking anyway. So in my opinion, if you have the 3-year bar, just wait the 3 years. You can do the family petition, but by the time they're telling you a lie, because you can't just come back lawfully if you want to, okay? Even if you have a job offer, if you triggered one of these bars, which like I'm telling you, you triggered the bar by leaving. That's what causes the bar to be tripped. If you're still here, even though you have been here unlawfully, say you came in on a tourist visa, and then you've been here longer than a year, okay? It isn't triggered until you leave the U.S. Okay, so even though you technically have that 10-year punishment, it won't apply if you stay inside the United States. And you could later qualify for a green card if you meet and marry a U.S. citizen, for example. Or maybe you're a victim of violence, or maybe you qualify for the U visa or VAWA or the T visa. There's other things that could be done for you. Okay, maybe they give TPS for your country, something like that. But I don't recommend people to take this government's, even though they're giving out a stipend, right, at $1,000, that sounds great, but you need to talk to an immigration attorney before you take the government up, because everything that the Trump administration is doing right now is to encourage people to leave on their own. And why are they using this app, and why are they encouraging people to leave on their own? Because they know that it's impossible to meet all of Trump's immigration deportation goals unless people decide to leave on their own. So that's the reason they're doing all these things that are completely illegal. They're losing the legal battles, by the way. I just read an article that was talking about how Trump just lost the battle on the Alien Enemies Act. They have judges that are siding with the litigants who said it's completely illegal what he's doing because the U.S. is not at war with Venezuela. right? So Trump this article says Trump's immigration shock and awe is losing in the court of law. And it talks about how judges of both parties are siding with, against the Trump administration right now. Okay. And so Trump is losing on that front, but he's not really trying to win these legal battles. What he's trying to do is cause enough, turmoil, chaos, pain, fear. He's trying to cause fear in the minds and the hearts of every immigrant, so that even people who are here lawfully and have a right to be here and qualify for a green card or VAWA or whatever else will decide to leave on their own because of how hateful he is to immigrants, right? Maybe they're just afraid that they could lose their be separated from their U.S. citizen child, and for that reason they decide to leave on their own so that they don't have to wake up in the middle of the night fearing that. Right? So, but that's all part of Trump's plan. You have to understand that. And so before you decide to take the very drastic step to leave on your own under this, the CBP Home app and get the $1,000, realize that it's going to cost you much more than $1,000 to ever come back. And you will most likely be staying outside of the country at least 10 years if you have been here over a year, unless you qualify for a waiver. And if you did qualify for a waiver, why not start that process here inside the United States? Do an I-601A, start the paperwork here instead of leaving first, and which was going to guarantee that you'll be outside the country for several years before you come back.